Good morning. I'm Donna Rosenberg from Jameson Legal, and I am Director and Head of Inhouse for UK and Europe. I'm here today with Stephan Zimmerman, General Counsel and Deputy CEO at CreditGate24. These videos are aimed at the topic of the rise of the modern GC and are speaking to a variety of senior lawyers who are working in consultancy, management, strategic and/or executive positions, discussing the legal sector, technology, careers in-house and other topics. As mentioned, Stefan is General Counsel and Deputy CEO at CreditGate24. CreditGate24 are an online lending specialist for the financing of private, business and real estate loans using state-of-the-art technology and making loans more efficient and cost-effective. As of mid-June this year, Stefan will move from CreditGate and will start a new position as Head of Legal of Sygnum, the world's first digital asset bank. Welcome, Stefan. Thanks very much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you, Donna. I'm very good. Thanks a lot. I hope you as well. First of all, thank you for reaching out to me and for having me today. I'm happy that we finally made it, and it's a great pleasure to talk to you. And I hope that our conversation will be of some value to all the people out there who are interested in watching this.
Perfect. Thanks very much for joining us. And it might be nice to just hear up front, when I reached out to you to talk about the topic of the rise of the modern GC, what was it about that topic that appealed to you?
This is quite easy to answer, basically. When I think back to my career start, but also now, I definitely would have been, and I am very interested in these virtual interviews because it is exciting to have an insight into the experience of and opinions of other legal professionals, and then maybe get some ideas of other careers. And in the best case, this changes something to the better. And of course, see that other GCs deal with the same topics and same tasks as I do is always good.
Great. It would be nice to just hear a little bit more about yourself as well.
Of course, as you already mentioned, I'm the General Counsel and Deputy CEO of the CG24 group, consisting of CreditGate24 and Advanon. We are the biggest marketplace lending platform in Switzerland, covering private SME and real estate loans, as well as suitable investment solutions for retail and institutional investors who search for yield, even in this negative environment. Maybe quickly to my background so that you have a better picture of my person, which might help to understand my career path and always my answers that I will provide today. After my studies and after several internships during my studies, I worked for a Zurich-based law firm and did my bar exam also here in Zurich. My red thread with that was already back then and after my studies, the financial market and the financial institutions, especially here in Switzerland. My first real job as an in-house counsel was with GE Money Bank, back then a GE company, with a wonderful team. We did an IPO back then, and after the IPO, I went over to UBS, working for the structured syndicated finance team. This is where I worked with super talented and highly professional people, and I would recommend to every legal counsel to actually work at some point in a bigger environment and see how the professionals work. And I will get back to that a little bit later when I talk about CreditGate24. Because then after UBS, I joined the crowd lending startup. As you already mentioned, as a general counsel. Back then we were about 6 employees, and today we are more than 35, I guess. So I moved basically from a highly regulated, structured, and let's say at some point very organized environment into a situation with no clear structures yet, and with a rather unexplored regulatory situation, at least here in Switzerland. The position now is very challenging and at the same time also super fulfilling. That's why I already did it for the last couple of years, last 5 years. Beside the General Counsel role, I'm also the Deputy CEO for the last 3 years, covering also the strategic development of the company together with the executive team. So as a General Counsel, I cover so many topics. It's unbelievable, basically, from labor law to tax law, corporate law, financial law, investment products, vehicles, and also as a corporate secretary, you are in constant interaction with shareholders. You cover the board meetings, the AGMs, and so on and so on. So the journey with CreditGate24 was an amazing journey and still is. And now after 5 years, as you already mentioned, I open a new chapter by moving to the world's first digital asset bank here in Zurich, to Sygnum, as the head legal.
Fantastic, and I hope that goes really well for you. I look forward to hearing all about it. Looking back, when you decided to make the transition to move in-house, was there a particular roadmap that you put in place for yourself?
Roadmap are things, right? My grandfather always used to say, firstly, things turn out differently, and secondly, they don't work out the way you think. Roadmaps for the future are always tricky. You never know what the market dynamics are. See now, digital assets. You don't know how roles are evolving and changing over time. Your personal situation is something that is also important, or what job opportunities there are. So basically, in my opinion, it's very much more important to be flexible, open and eager to learn, and not being afraid to jump into cold water from time to time. I think it's always, and also of value, if you know what you like to do, or even better, what you love to do and in what you're good at. Because in this field of expertise, you're getting better and better, and therefore gain more value also for a potential future employer. And then, of course, what is also important is to know in what kind of industry one would like to work. And if you're attracted by big companies, international companies, or more by smaller companies, or even greenfield startups. I myself always knew that if I'm able to show a potential employer that I have some relevant work experience, it's going to be easier for me to get the job or the role that I desire or that I want. So to conclude on this question, I think doors are always opening somewhere, and during your career, you always have opportunities. And if you have a clear roadmap, then just follow it, and you will succeed. I'm pretty sure about that. And if you don't, then be open-minded and not afraid of cold water.
And enjoy where the adventure may take you, or the journey may take you.
Absolutely.
And looking back, is there any pitfalls that others may avoid that you experienced along the way that you could maybe share some information around?
Yes, of course. As an in-house legal counsel or as a lawyer in general, there's not much room for mistakes, because mistakes in our field of expertise could lead to major trouble. So do not take any non-calculated risks. Or if you see risk, disclose them and take a well-educated decision together with the company's executives. A second thing would be know your boundaries, especially in small companies. As a lawyer, you are well-educated, and people know that. And you don't shoot from the hips. So many colleagues want to involve you in all and everything, and try to hold you accountable for that. So, to a certain degree. And if you let that happen, you won't find time to do your actual job. Yeah. This is really out of my experience from the last couple of years. Another thing is always try to be a business enabler. Don't just say, no, that doesn't work, but always come up with solutions or creative ideas. There's nothing worse than an in-house counsel always preventing the colleagues to make business. But also don't be afraid of saying no. If you did your research and you think the no is the appropriate answer. As an in-house counselor, you are a business partner, and you want to be recognized as a business partner, providing always helpful and important advice and skills that others might don't have. And last but not least, try to be a good expectation manager. You just can't handle everything within the same day, even if that's expected, right? So besides the fact that you should be a good lawyer with good technical skills, I would suggest these behavior patterns, so actually that you can succeed as an in-house counsel.
And how important is legal to the development of a company?
Absolutely vital. If you want to be compliant, you want to sleep good at night. Now, honestly, it really depends on the situation of the company. Is it a startup company? Is it a growth scale-up company, or a later stage company, or even one of the biggest major players out there? And maybe more importantly, the industry. Some industries are more regulated than others. And it's important that you set up your company based on stable and compliant regulatory basements. Beside the qualifications that I said now, I'm completely unbiased in saying that legal deals with important topics, issues, and questions. And the more the company grows, the more legal matters raise. What you always are as a general counsel or a legal counsel, you are kind of the conscience of the company, and to a certain degree also bring in the ethical element when it comes down to questions of equal treatment, justice, and fairness, I would say. Also, as a general counsel or head legal, you are not only the lawyer of the company, but also a sparring partner of the CEO or the CFO or even the board. So if you as a CEO of a company do not want to wake up finding yourself in a legal or regulatory mess, in the worst case destroying your reputation, then you better have a good legal counseling you with regard to legal compliance and all the regulatory matters that are out there.
Thank you. That's a great answer. And with respect to changes in the legal industry, what changes have you seen, and how have they had an impact?
First of all, since I'm not the youngest lawyer anymore, unfortunately, if we go back in time a little bit, the internet changed a lot. I think legal research changed dramatically and is much more efficient today. Then many people are more educated or think they are also with regard to legal topics. This changed somewhat the legal private practice and the advisory services. However, the smatting, if I can say like that, is dangerous, as we all know. So many legal tech initiatives will make operational legal processes more efficient in the future, especially for repeating work, I think. Yeah. And of course, there are new technologies, artificial intelligence, automation of processes, document screening, blockchain, the way contracts are going to be concluded in the future, which will have a big impact on our day-to-day work. But in my opinion, there's still a long way to go. It's very complex. And to be very honest, in my day-to-day work, not many things changed in a serious dimension during the last couple of years for me.
And if you had some advice to give a lawyer who was contemplating a career in-house, what value could you add at the highest level?
It really depends on the situation of the company you are moving in-house, right? If you are joining a small company, a startup, no matter what industry, then you have to wake up the entrepreneur in yourself, the business-driven thinking, kind of. Make the most of your legal knowledge and drive internal processes. Be a good negotiator. Manage risks in an efficient way and be prepared to pick up the shovel and dig and get your hands dirty. Mm-hmm. And I think last but not least, be brave at some point. There's always the point where you need to be brave again and again. What is always important, no matter what stage the company is, that you get to know every corner of the company, to be able to have a kind of a holistic view and understand how the respective industry and the business works. And then you should create value in enabling business. So be a business enabler and get things done. Be decisive and proactive, I would say. This is also very important. And then maybe 1 or 2 points in addition, which helped me during my career. You should educate your non-lawyer colleagues. This will help you in the future. And always have open doors, and also let people know that your door is always open for them.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much for all your insight, information and comments today. If anybody has any questions for either myself or Stefan, please don't hesitate to reach out at donna.rosenberg@jamesonlegal.com. There'll also be a link to the post for the LinkedIn group that we've created, The Rise of the Modern GC, so please reach out and connect. A little bit more about Jameson Legal. We're an international recruitment company and we specialise in legal and compliance. We have offices in London, Abu Dhabi, Hong Kong and Singapore, and we recruit for law firms, professional services, industry and commerce. Again, Stefan, thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely to collaborate with you on this topic, and I look forward to staying in touch, and stay well.
Absolutely. Thank you. For you as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.